All right, welcome in to the Chatterbox Bearcats midweek show. I'm your first-time host, Nick Niehaus. Usually, you guys see Hudson Klauke, but the stagnant, the steady Eric Lilly, the Bearcat guru, I'm going to call you. Best follow on Twitter for any Bearcat fans out there at Bearcat Bunch. Lilly, you heard the intro. We got the Mountaineers coming to town on Saturday. First question: are you ready to tailgate? Because I know that they're going to come in hot.
Their energy is going to be tough to match. It's a little intimidating. They're not Arizona State we're dealing with here. Like, these guys are real beer drinkers. They're country guys. It'll be some fun. I'll be there at 8 o'clock. I say that every time now that we play noon every weekend. So
we got injuries on both sides, both teams dealing with injuries. Let's talk about the Bearcats first, the offensive line specifically. What are we looking at there, Lily?
we got an update from Sat today about Kendra and Gerhardt. It sounds good. So they're trending in the right direction, and coach has been pretty forthcoming with information throughout the year. Like, he's just kind of been straight up with it, which is nice. Some coaches, specifically Utah, have been a little quiet about things, like they hide injuries, but Sat's been pretty straightforward. So if he says they're trending in the right direction, I think that means they're going to play, which is huge. We need those guys in there because offense is going to win this game. And West Virginia's got a couple injuries themselves. It sounds like their left tackle is going to be back, but they're down a couple DBs, Aubrey Burks, Aiden Garnes. And Garnes is a guy that we recruited this summer as a transfer, and we ended up can't remember who it was, maybe Ormani Arnold. We got a different DB instead. Garnes committed to West Virginia. He's out. Their defense is really bad. So maybe it's something we can attack.
Is that something you're telling me to take the over right now? I mean, I looked at the spread earlier. We're 4.5-point favorites, which at this point, I know that we've been exceeding expectations, but after how we played West Virginia last year, and it's hard to say because two completely different teams for the Bearcats, right? But that was kind of the point last year where most Bearcat fans just turned the TV off, right? Was the West Virginia game, or at least those are the diehards that even got to that point. But to see 4.5-point favorites against West Virginia at home, that's got to be a good feeling. But what do you think that does for Sorsby in terms of the injuries that we got on the offensive line? Now, like you said, West Virginia's defense might not be something that is as challenging as the other Big 12 games that we've had this year. But is that like a mental thing that you think might Sorsby might overcome versus like you said, struggling defense for the Mountaineers?
Yeah, and even Sorsby's a little banged up. There was a question about that at the presser today, and he answered it perfectly. He said, I'm banged up, but that's not an excuse for my accuracy. So, like, Sorsby's a gamer. He'll be fine. The West Virginia, I forgot to mention it just before, but West Virginia's quarterback, Garrett Green, sounds like he's going to be out. Listed as doubtful by Coach Neil Brown. Nico Martial started their last game versus Arizona before the bye. So, they have a bye as well. They could be trying to pull a quick one on us, but Martial played well versus Arizona, 18-22, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 39 yards. He's a lefty. Pretty interesting QB. I'm a little scared. He's mobile. He can do it all, it looks like, but it's just one game versus, Arizona's not exactly looking too hot. They got smoked by UCF this week, last week. So the injuries are in play all over in this game. So everyone's banged up. We're at that point of the season, and I think we're preparing for the lefty, the new guy.
Yeah, nobody's going to be 100% healthy at this point in the year, like you just mentioned. So that's just something that you got to roll with the punches. You have to have some depth. You have to have some gritty guys. This game specifically, does it mean more because it's West Virginia and we, used to see them back in our old conference? Because I see this game on Saturday like it's a must win. Now, I know it's already probably a must win because I've been following you on Twitter. Like I said, at Bearcat Bunch, follow him on Twitter. He has everything for you. All the analytics say that we have the toughest schedule left in the Big 12, right? So to just make a bowl game, West Virginia's got to be our best chance, right? Is this a must win in your eyes?
I feel like we're doing this every week with the must win thing, but it is like if we just pretend we lose this, we're doing a back-to-back Farmageddon on the road. We're playing at Iowa State, at Kansas State. They're both upset. They've had bad losses last week. They can still get in the playoffs. Like, they have incentive to play hard. This is the one where it's like, get the bowl, get that 6th win out of the way. Like, get the drama out of the way. If you lose this, it's like, man, these next two, we're not going to win. We're not going to win these. Like, and then you got TCU at home as the can we get in a bowl game? And TCU might be in the same situation. So these 4 games, you're playing teams that want to win. They're locked in. They have incentive to win. Everybody's bought in. There's nothing on the schedule that suggests we're going to be playing a team that's just going to lay down like kind of how Arizona is right now. Utah, Oklahoma State, like, they've got nothing to play for. So this is a big one past the rivalry. It's both teams kind of at this weird point where it's a must win for both teams. So it's high stakes. It feels like it should be a night game to me.
I know we need nip at night. There's definitely
Yeah.
levels to this, right? Because like you said, we keep doing the must win thing. Last week, or with a bye game or bye week, it feels like we haven't seen the Bearcats in forever. But before the Colorado game, which me and you both made the trip out to Boulder to see live, which it's a great city. Not a great result, but that must win was, let's keep our hopes alive for maybe some magic happens and maybe we sneak into the Big 12 championship game. Right now, after that loss, it's a must win for any bowl game. Going forward, I know you kind of already hinted at it with the Farmageddon, which I like that. How do you see the season panning out? Obviously, I think Saturday, like you said, is going to tell a lot.
I want to say we can go 2-2. I also can't rule out going 4-0 or 0-4. Like, I think my biggest fear is that everyone, we've overachieved thus far, and people are kind of like, well, maybe this is a thing. Maybe we're decent. Maybe Satterfield's not as bad as we thought. Like, maybe these guys we're recruiting are good. This game has so much to say for all that, because it can just set aside the anxieties. It just, if we win this game, you're talking Arlington still. You can tell the team, hey, we're going to Iowa State in Manhattan, and it's still in play. I could see anything happening. Our offense is good. Colorado, we didn't look too hot. Like, that might have been our worst offensive performance of the season. Sorsby made a few mistakes, which is the first time that's happened on that 4th and 1 run. I think he could have done better there. A couple passing decisions. Even Satterfield mentioned in the presser today that, he made the wrong decision, which happens. It's a long season. Like, we're not going to turn on our guy there, but these 4 games determines whether we're going on just that normal trajectory of getting slightly better, or if we're the new hot team in the transfer market. Like, maybe we keep our QB and guys want to come here and try to win the thing next year. So it's just a huge turning point of the season, just to determine whether it's like that normal trajectory or a big leap.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but how I'm viewing this, it's a measuring stick game, right? Not for these teams, but for these programs. What do you think about that? I mean, I view West Virginia as a average to above average program. Maybe they get a flash in the pan every, few years here and there, but this is a program that Cincinnati should stack up with. And honestly, when it comes to the Big 12, I don't think there's any programs out there that are that much head and shoulders better than UC. But when I think of West Virginia, I think of we're right around them no matter what, how good we are, no matter how bad we are, no matter how bad they are, how good they are. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's not even that we're like directly recruiting against them, which we are for a couple cases, but it's not like a recruiting territory head to head or anything like that. It's we're the Eastern teams in this conference, and it kind of feels like one of them is going to stand out. So it's a big one in that manner. And you know, these first 5 years we're in the Big 12 are critical. Like the playoff is currently constructed where a Big 12 team is going to get in no matter what. We're still growing as a program. Like these years are so important to build excitement, increase donations. I mean, everything. Like this is with how quickly the landscape's changing. We have to have some sort of success in the next 4 years, and dominating West Virginia would be a great way to start. Like they beat us last year, but this is the new era now, and we have to be like, this is the Big 12. We're the East, and it's us. Because you know you see UCF kind of spiraling out in the corner there, but they're so far away that it they're kind of off the radar.
It's like a full circle moment for me personally because you agonize in those years in the American Conference, right? Nobody's favorite era of Bearcat athletics, other than some exciting basketball teams, right? And then obviously the college football playoff. So maybe it was exciting. Maybe I'm just, revisionist history here. But anyway, to get to my point, when you hear about conference realignment and you hear about just the possibility of the Bearcats becoming a power conference team, everybody looked at West Virginia. They're like, oh, we'll give them a traveling partner. Well, here we are. It's year 2 under Scott Satterfield, and we have a must-win game, excuse me, against West Virginia to make a bowl game because we have, like you mentioned, the toughest schedule coming up. So it's kind of like nostalgic for me. It's like I see this West Virginia game, and I'm like, okay, this is one I have to attend. This is one we have to win, and it even goes to basketball too, especially after that awful basketball loss we had against them last year. But I'm particularly hyped up for this one. Any predictions on this one?
I think it could be kind of like that Texas Tech game. I don't think it's going to go full Texas Tech, where both teams are just going crazy. The like West Virginia has this is the worst defense we have played since Texas Tech. Like Colorado's decent, the Arizona State's decent. West Virginia, I think they're like 66th in S&P plus on defense, and Texas Tech is 72 or something like that. Right in that ballpark. This is we got to score. Like this is a chance to kind of, our offense has been fine. We're doing okay. We're excited. We got a QB, running back, like tight end. We're doing good, but this is a chance to like get the firepower in Nippert Stadium. Like we haven't seen that. We saw it in the first half of the Pittsburgh game. We saw it at Texas Tech, but since then it's kind of been like balanced attack, control the game, stuff like that. This is one where we can put up some points. We can kill them off if we take a lead. They have a really good running attack. So this is one where if you go up 2 scores early like we did at Texas Tech, it's a different story. They're not going to throw their way back into the game unless this backup QB is just pull something out of his ass and is way better than we thought he is. So I think it's the first quarter is so important for this game, just to get the crowd into it, can take the lead and kind of try to force West Virginia into things they don't want to do, because they have that 2-headed monster at running back with C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White. They're like top 5 in the Big 12 in rushing. It's explosive. So if you can take them out of their running attack and have the backup QB trying to throw his way back into it, maybe we run away with it or something like that. But I think it's going to be a close one. I've got UC 31-27, something like that.
Well, we're losing by the hook in that case. I'll tell you what. If this was nip at night, I'm taking us alternate spread at 13.5 after what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Now, it is at noon, and I'm not going to keep harping on that. I'm taking the points. I'm taking 4.5. UC is going to take this victory after what happened last year. I mean, you don't think Scott Satterfield's in that locker room like they embarrassed us last year? And it's funny because I feel like we're at a point in the season where we got to rally the troops. We got to get the fans back into it just because we lose that Colorado game. We have a bye, and the basketball season started up. We're the hot topic in town. Wes Miller and the Bearcat basketball team. We still got 4 games left. We can still make a bowl game. We got to rally the troops. We need Nip to be packed. So, with all that being said, I think Sorsby's got a chip on his shoulder because I wouldn't say embarrassed. That wasn't an embarrassing game against Colorado, but that was prime time on ESPN against Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and Deion Sanders. And here we go. We got West Virginia at noon after a bye when the Bearcat basketball season started up and we're 20th in the country. So let's wrap it up, the football talk. Any final thoughts? Is your stat of the week? This might be a good segue. The stat of the week. Is it football or basketball related?
I'm going football.
Okay, let's hear it.
I got to throw in real quick that this isn't the stat, but their DC, West Virginia fired their DC going into the bye. It seemed like it was kind of planned because they won the game before the bye. So it's like they were waiting for the week off to get the new guy in. And the new guy's Jeff Coons. He coached at UC under Tuberville for 3 years. And he even called plays in 2016. So there's a lot of, and then we have Jared Bartlett who played at West Virginia last year. So there's some stuff like, it's not just the normal rivalry. There's things going on. It's going to be fired up. Both teams are going to be fired up. That we might see a personal foul or two, hopefully in our benefit. But and there's some weird stuff too. Like West Virginia's staying in Columbus on Friday, according to Neil Brown. They're doing their walkthrough in Columbus. So I don't know if they think we're spying on them or if they're just trying to save a couple bucks, but this is a big game. And my stat is the West Virginia defense. They got a new DC here. They're still bad, but he could completely switch things up. But to this point, West Virginia in the Big 12 has only forced 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles. Last in the Big 12 in interceptions with 3, tied with us, of course. And then the 3 fumbles is 13th in the Big 12, and we're in first. Yeah. So their defense is bad. It's almost Texas Tech bad. They don't pressure the QB. They don't force turnovers. We got to win this game on offense and just put them away.
So you're telling me Sorsby's going to cook. Love it.
Yep.
I've literally never heard of – they're staying in Columbus. What a weird – concept.
They're bussing. Yeah, they're bussing to the game. This is old school Big East stuff right here.
What in the world? Speaking of Columbus, though, this is, again, talk about segues. This is a good segue here. We had our first taste of Bearcat basketball against Ohio State when we whooped their ass a few Fridays ago. We had another ass whooping last night. Arkansas, or I should say on Monday. Arkansas and Pine Bluff. Woo. I hope they're not bussing home, which they definitely are. What stood out to you? I mean, I can get into what stood out to me and who specifically stood out to you. So I'll say what or who stood out to you in the 109-54 win Monday night.
Dan Skillings, Aziz Bandago was the. It takes good coaching, good culture to see guys flying around like that against bad teams. Like the way they were going for offensive rebounds was just like it was like the last game of their lives. Like that, and they combined for 9 offensive rebounds. It felt like 20. And I know it's Arkansas Pine Bluff. I don't care. Effort was there. We know they can. They did it last year against Big 12 teams. So it just felt like a great start to the season. We're looking for positives, obviously, because there's a lot of hype around the program. But I think this team's superpower is offensive rebounding, just like last year. I hope it's better this year. It was 15th in KenPom last year. Hoping for top 10. That's a hell of a start, though. We've got, I mean, Connor Hickman had 2 offensive rebounds. Jizzle had 2. Arrington Page had 2. We had every single shot. You see 2 or 3 guys there just right around the basket. That's what caught my eye the most. The defense in the first half kind of scared me a little, but we have some new players and a couple cupcakes to start the season, so not too concerned yet. We'll see how I feel in 3 weeks before the NKU and Georgia Tech games, but that's a hell of a start right there.
You know what's funny to me, and it's every new person I talk to about Monday night's game, and I'm like, hey, what'd you think? It's never the same player that they talk about being impressive. You mentioned Seamus and Dan Skillings. Now, obviously, they're probably going to be our 2 best players, right? I had people. Well, you mentioned Aziz Bendigo, so there's a new one. It seems like there's a new guy every time you ask a different person who they liked on Monday night. Everybody performed. And you know what? The guy who probably had the most hype, Jizzle James, nobody's talking about him. And he had, 12 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds?
Mm-hmm.
He almost had a triple-double. And nobody's even talking about him because he had a not the greatest shooting night. That just leads into who I'm going to talk about, Connor Hickman. I think he's going to be the X factor of this team. You watch him shoot the basketball like an NBA player. The form is perfect. It's over his head. It's not going to get blocked. It's quick release. He's so confident. And oh yeah, not only can he do that, but he can also slash, get to the rim, and throw down like the rest of them. It's insane to see. You posed this question on Twitter, and we kind of just talked about it a little bit, but who's going to be our best player? I replied, I said, I think Skillings is probably our best all-around player, but Seamus is going to get the ball down the stretch, right? Seamus being healthy to start the year, I think, is a big thing. Somebody made the joke after the game, make sure you look both ways before you cross the road. I mean,
too soon.
Let's make sure Seamus stays healthy. Let's get like 2, bodyguards around him at all times because my goodness, he can light it up. We saw it at the end of last season. I think Seamus is probably going to be our go-to scorer. I mean, that's not that crazy to say, but who do you think is going to be our best player?
I think it's Skillings. I love Skillings. Like, I know he doesn't look like the best basketball player out there, but he creates so much like chaos and havoc with offensive rebounding and if he gets just a little better with like the IQ stuff, and he started playing basketball late. Like, he wasn't a lifetime basketball guy. He's in the last 10 years. If he figures out this who to pass to, like when to not take this big like risk going to the rim, stuff like that, I think he has a chance to be like a star. But I also don't think you hear a lot of stuff on like Bearcats Twitter, like we need this alpha, like big time scorer. I'm just not totally sold that we need that. It would be nice, but I think we have strength and depth and too deep at every position. Our bench units are going to kill this year. Like compared to last year, our bench unit was what, in my opinion, what cost us. So Connor Hickman, guys like Betsy, Hickman, Page, maybe Frederick, like guys like that are going to be why we have a great regular season. And if we can get to the tournament with our shooters healthy and our physical presence, we're big, we're strong, we're athletic. Like just think about the last 10 years of like even the good Mick Cronin teams. Like there would be games where we just didn't get a dunk, and now last year we didn't make the tournament, but we had every game we're dunking, we're bigger than teams, we're rebounding just like the Cronin teams rebounded. This is a better form of that, in my opinion. And I think that we're going to win games just on like the physical presence, the fine margins of just getting that extra rebound, finishing that rebound is a big part this year. Like getting the rebound and dunking it, like, or kicking it to Hickman in the corner. Like we have some options now, and the transition stuff's important too.
You know what's funny? Obviously, the players on the court matter, and the product you put on the court matters for fans in Cincinnati to grab a hold of a program and just make it what it was like in the Bob Huggins era. And what I'm getting at is we have a team that dunks at a high level, and we have a team that shoots threes at a high level. Talk about the most fun things that you can do in basketball. So I just see this. Not only are we going to perform on the court and we're going to win basketball games, but it feels like we're back to, oh gosh, this is going to sound so cliche. It feels like we're back to the Bob Huggins days on excitement. We scored 55 points in the first half. We would end games with less than 55 points in the Mick Cronin era. We dunk at a high level. We shoot threes at a high level. Shout out Tim Buckley, right? The shot doctor. Some of these forms are crazy. Connor Hickman has one of the best shooting forms I've ever seen.
I thought Rayvon's
it just
form
feels
looked
different.
good. That caught me off guard.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And that's going to get into my next point. Rayvon coming in and having the confidence to just shoot the ball right away, I think that says a lot about Wes, because this is a guy that nobody expected to redshirt. He sits out the whole year. He comes in, first home game of his redshirt freshman season, and everybody's on the edge of their seats like, oh, here we go. Here's Rayvon. Now, I know some people got a taste against Ohio State, right? But real game atmosphere. Rayvon comes in, and he takes 3 threes right off the bat. I love that. I mean, you can clearly see that Wes instills confidence in his players, and we're coming from a coach where you take a bad shot, your ass is on the bench, right? So I think that's personally awesome to see as well.
And I thought all 3 of those threes are going in, by the way. Like it looks clean. Last year, you kind of saw why he got redshirted. If you showed up early to games, the shot looked a little broken. I don't know if he fixed it or not. I'm just saying, like the confidence, like those 3 threes. The past 15 years, we've seen how many guys pump fake, then shoot it, and then break it. It's like, shoot your shot, man. And then he drove a couple times too, and he looked good driving. He drew a foul, took contact. I mean, his body looks good. He's ready to take on some hits to the rim. I don't know what exactly Rayvon's impact is going to be on this team. I still think he's going to play less than 10 minutes a game. I mean, it's in his hands, but he looked better than I was expecting. Like a lot of basketball is just acting with conviction and making your decision and living with it. And he did that today. He did that on Monday and looked good doing it. And the guy he's competing with for minutes is Josh Reed. And Josh Reed has a couple things that like you can see why he's at the end of the rotation and can provide a little value to the team, but he doesn't have that conviction, that kill, the pump fake airball 3, or just the airball 3. Yeah. He that kind of seems like it's a battle for that last spot in the rotation right there. They're similar size and much different players, but we're going to run 10 or 11 deep in out of conference play. We'll see what happens in January. But Reed and Ravon are fighting hard for that last spot, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, Wes after the game mentioned that the rotations aren't set, and he was asked specifically about Ravon. He said if he keeps playing like that, he's going to have a bigger role in the rotation. But like you said, at this point, I don't see that many minutes just because the team is so good. I mean, Ravon on some of these teams a few years ago is maybe starting. I don't know. That sounds crazy, and I know that UC fans are really they go really crazy when it comes to a hometown kid. So it's hard to put these expectations on the kid, but even with those expectations to come in and play like he did, I thought that was awesome. To get on to something else Wes said, I thought this was the quote of the night, talking about the Frenchman, the newcomer. And I did look up how to pronounce his name. Halvin, like Calvin. It's even in the, I did lengthy research. I went to the UC roster on the main website. It says Halvin rhymes with Calvin. Zella. So that's what I'm going with. Zella. Um, Wes was asked about him. He said, well, I don't speak French. He doesn't speak much English. So it's hard. I think, and this isn't, I'm not, reinventing the wheel here. I think it's been said a million times, but front court depth is going to be, I don't want to say Achilles heel because I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. But if there was an issue, it's going to be front court depth, right? I'm glad they killed the red shirt because he's 20 years old. What are we going to expect him to be here when he's 25? So to see him come in, obviously it's a project, right? But what do you think about the new guy? You know, coming in at the end of the game, we need him, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even before McKinley got hurt all offseason, like my only worry was front court depth. And the reason why is we like have to make the tournament this year. It is urgent. It is necessary for our fan base to feel like there are people who doubt Wes. There's a couple haters, but most people can see what he's doing, and there needs to be like results, right? Like you have to see it at some point. And last year, making the tournament felt like the natural step in the evolution of this team. We didn't. We looked fine. We won some big games. Didn't make the tournament. And this year, like the absolute minimum is we have to make the tournament. And my biggest fear was like if Aziz goes down, something bad happens in November, December, and then we miss the tournament, and we're talking about no, maybe next year, maybe next year. It cannot happen. Like we have to make the tournament. Like this is a critical step in the evolution of this program. And when McKinley went down, it just started making my mind go places it shouldn't go. And having Halvin here, when we got him, it was first reported he wasn't going to play, and it didn't do much for my nerves. But now that he is eligible, and I saw him out there, and I know it's happening, I feel much better. Just an insurance policy, like to survive a couple weeks spell of like maybe Page rolling his ankle or Aziz rolling his ankle. We have to make the tournament, and like the most obvious way of us just flaming out the season is the big just getting beat down low if one of those guys went down. So love having him here. He only played 2 minutes. I thought he looked all right. He's moving his feet around. He looks athletic, can move laterally. Can't say much offense. I don't care about the offense, honestly. Like we got to have a guy out there that can rebound, defend, and just let everybody else do their thing. So I think he's that, and it makes me feel much better. And, I'm starting to get a little cocky about this team.
We're not asking much. You say it's cocky. I was going to say, I don't think I'm going out on a limb here. We're making the tournament.
Oh,
this team is going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
If they're not, You'll never see me on this program again. I swear. I mean, they are going to make the
I'm with you
tournament
on
now.
that.
Look, I'm always under the belief that preseason rankings don't mean anything. They mean something when it comes to the tournament committee. You get a few excuses of some losses when you're starting at a high level. It's much harder to rise, obviously, than it is to drop. But this team's going to make the tournament. And if they don't, in the off chance they don't, which I don't think that's going to happen, there's going to be some serious, Hudson calls it the picket fences outside Fifth Third Arena, right? But no, they're making the tournament. This team is good. It feels different. Monday solidified that. I know we're playing the 355th ranked team in the country. I do not care. It was awesome. It felt so. I was there, obviously, in person. It was great. It was great to see. Final thoughts on the basketball team before we get out of here.
I want to see us just kill all these, like, Ken Palm 200 teams, 300. Last year we flirted with some stuff with Howard and even some of the other games at home. Just let it get to halftime and it wasn't over. I want to see just every game is like this. The score doesn't have to be like this, but like Morehead State, kill them. Nichols, kill them. NKU, take care of it. Be nice to win by 10 plus. Yeah. And then after that, we play Alabama State and Howard too, but we gotta. I think it's important for this team to just continue doing this to build energy, because last year, like, I don't know how many games you went to, but there were sellouts and the crowd was just like, me included, nervous. Like, you would hear groans after every turnover. And it's like we're ready for this to be great again. And anytime anything went wrong, people would, instead of like getting the team going, the student section was a little quiet last year. No fault to them. They've been in school for 4 years maybe and never seen a good basketball team. But I need to see this team like change the fan mindset and get that atmosphere going again. That Huggins thing where it's just crazy at Fifth Third. We need that this year. We need to win our home games this year. It's not just an out of conference thing. We gotta change. We gotta flip the script here, and be a little more cocky and defending the turf. Or I guess court.
Yeah, it's the way they're gonna get it done. Like I mentioned, dunking, shooting threes. It's fun. We have fun back at Fifth Third Arena. It's when non-UC fans start showing up to the games. Mm-hmm. Just Cincinnati residents start coming to the games where you're like, okay, we're back. This is different. I'm not getting ahead of myself. This team is special, and we're going to the tournament. We're probably going to make a run. I think we're that good. The fan base has been starving for this.
Yeah, I'm in the point now where I could be hurt again. Like, last couple of years, I was protecting myself a little. Like when you go to a game, it's like, man, we might lose this. Like, this year, we're winning every fucking game. And if we lose it, we got screwed or something.
Just the refs.
So yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna let this team hurt me if they do. I trust them. We're taking that step here. Let's go.
All right, I'm glad we're taking it easy after game 1 against Arkansas Pine Bluff. No, but look, let's wrap it up. It's still football season. Show up to Nippert on Saturday, noon game. Get the Cincy lights out at 8 a.m. We still have to do that. Hopefully this is the last time of the year we have to do that and we get Nip at night for senior night. But show up. Mountaineers are going to come drinking beers. I think we get it done. But any last thoughts before we wrap this up?
I got nothing else. We got to get the dub.
Yep.
On Friday. Must win. And Friday must win, of course. Yeah, Morehead State. But yeah, Saturday too. Jared Bartlett revenge game. Jeff Coons hates UC because he coached under Tuberville. We're winning this game, man. Let's do it. And I made
All
that
right.
score earlier. I said 31-27. I'm changing it.
Yeah.
34-27. We're covering.
All right, there we go. That's what I like to see. I already took it, so 4.5 we need to cover. All right, that is our show. I'm Nick Niehaus. That is Eric Lilly. Follow him on Twitter at Bearcat Bunch. It's the best stuff I see on Twitter. Not even, no lie. But anyway, Chatterbox Bearcats. Make sure you like, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you get your podcast. That's the show. Let's go, Cats.
Go Cats.